Hello. Hello, Public Habit and Megan and Sophie. We are going live today with Sophia, so I'm going to wait for her to join quickly. Hi, Sophia. Yay.
Hello, Cassandra.
Hello. I was hoping you were wearing this dress that I saw from your stories earlier. I was like, cancel everything we were planning on talking about. What is this dress?
Oh my God, no, I need to hear about your dress.
Well, this one, I guess it always goes out of frame, is Public Habit from my latest collection.
I'm so excited. Congratulations on your habit. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure this phone situation looks good.
No,
Okay, here we
you
go.
you are good. Yeah, I'm in an unusual setup for me as well, so I was trying to kind of like figure everything out. Are
Where,
you in New York?
yeah, I'm in Brooklyn right now, and
Cool.
are you in LA?
No, so you maybe wouldn't know this, but so I'm actually in Lagos in Nigeria visiting my boyfriend, and so I've been traveling for the last like 2 days to get to Lagos.
Wait, I thought you didn't end up going because of everything happening.
So I canceled it and then, well, I postponed it and then was waiting to see how everything evolved on the ground here. And so I actually ended up leaving Sunday night to come here because it's better.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. I'm glad you finally made it, and I can't believe you're tuning in from Nigeria. Um, I
Yes,
hope, I
yes.
hope, how's everything on the ground there?
Yeah, so I honestly have not been haven't really been out and about. I've been here for like 2 days and spent all of yesterday just completely jet lagged sleeping here. And then, just sleeping and like getting acclimated and was mostly, working today and haven't gotten a chance to be like really out there. But I've been here like 3 times, and so to me it did seem pretty normal, but I know it's definitely not normal. They're recovering, but yeah, it's definitely like fun to be here. Lagos has like the best energy. It's just like such a cool city, so I'm glad they're like on the way to recovery.
Yeah, I mean, it's a global movement, what's happening right now, what we're seeing. And speaking of that, I know that if you, like everyone who's tuning in the States, less than a week away from election day. It won't be election day, it'll be like election month. So, Cass, how are you feeling? Your collection is like red, white, and blue. Did you mean to do that?
Yes. So I want to say yes because that sounds cooler, but I did not mean to do that. I know when I had initially showed you my collection, I was like, I'm gonna wear the blue dress basically until election for obvious reasons. And we had actually sent the blue dress out. So I was like, oh, I'll bring the red one. But yeah, the dress that I made comes in blue and red. And then I did bring a couple other pieces with me because I have my half zip and then my jacket. Oh, I didn't give you guys a good view. And this actually does come in kind of like a pumpkin-y rust color too. So when they're all together, it doesn't seem like super red, white, and blue. But when you take away the pumpkin, you're kind of like, yeah, it actually does seem election oriented, which hopefully, I know one of the main things we were saying is like, hopefully chic, elevated, cozy pieces that are like easy enough to either mail in your ballot from home or walk, mail your ballot in, get out there and vote. Those are definitely like the type of, I know something I've even, just struggled with during this time is actually being able to focus on producing marketing clothing when so much is happening in the world, and kind of just mentally prioritizing like a project that that lives outside of that, I think feels even more daunting now than maybe it would have before.
Yeah, totally. So just to rewind a little bit, for those who don't know, you're a sustainable stylist. So one, what does a sustainable stylist even mean? And I know you've dressed some of like the most legendary icons that are still alive today. So give us a little dish about who you've dressed and what does sustainable styling mean?
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. I was like, we got right into it and didn't even reintroduce ourselves. Yeah, so my background, for anyone who maybe doesn't know, is actually in red carpet styling. So I've been in the styling space for about 10 years. Obviously assisted for a long time and went on my own about 3 years ago. And so in that transition into kind of building your own business and building your own brand was really when I started to kind of unpack the layers of what went into clothing, what went into production, what actually went into the clothes that I am every day telling people to wear and put on their body. And I really kind of started to evolve that process and kind of evolve that opinion of really being like, I'm a resource for clients, for people alike. And I really want to shift my focus to, I've always cared about sustainable brands, but over the last 3 years, I've just completely oriented my business to only focusing on sustainable brands, ethical brands. And I, approach every collaboration with this values forward and values first approach of, and that really comes out of me being in so many rooms with, celebrities, VIPs, other stylists, designers, friends, and just feeling like a little bit frustrated that the conversation was always centered around like, this is on the runway, or maybe XYZ celebrity wore this, or while they might be important reasons, I always felt like I wanted to dig more into the actual brands and their, like, dig into what brands are really doing and have a bit more of an immersive conversation of, if I'm recommending this little black dress, like this is why, there's ethical work productions, and there's so many brands doing that well that deserve that platform. And if
Totally.
you're going to like be, not only have your own footprint, but also help curate and be a resource for other people on their footprint, I just kind of, I just a couple years ago made that commitment to only focus on sustainability.
I love
And
that. Congratulations. And give us a scoop. Who are some of the names you've dressed on the red carpet and beyond?
yeah. So one of my biggest clients is, I worked with Ty Burrell a lot from Modern Family, and I feel like people always love him. He's a good one. He's like definitely one of my favorites. I actually have worked a lot in menswear. So I recently just did a shoot with Zen Freeman, to who people love. He's like an amazing DJ. And yeah, I guess I've worked with a lot of like the bigger names too that I've worked with, were with, so kind of how I like transitioned into being on my own was I worked under another stylist, Ilaria Urbanati. And so some of the like bigger names that I worked with were also, assisting her. And so that's kind of how, some people will be like, how you just started, how are you working with The Rock or Bradley Cooper and some of these bigger names when I was assisting her. And so definitely some of those like noteworthy names are like her clients that I did jobs with. But yeah.
Amazing. And then when you talk about bringing sustainable fashion to your clients, like what is your criteria? Like what quantifies them as a sustainable brand? Like what is your kind of quantification that you use?
Yeah, it's funny. That's actually something that I've been wanting to do, that I just recently have kind of wrapped my brain around is, I almost want to create, which I don't have and which I did, like a scale of, how kind of my own like Higgins version of a brand is like a 1, 2, 3 tier, and what goes into that. And what I currently do now is I approach it just from the most transparency possible of saying, this is what I know about the brand. And, a lot of times when I'm working with brands, I'll do initial outreach of saying, okay, I can see that you have this fabric online and that, I know a little bit about your production process. Can you maybe tell me a bit more about these other areas that maybe there's not a lot of information online? And so right now, the criteria is kind of basically there has to be some sort of commitment to ethical or sustainable work conditions. And so, every brand that has, maybe higher marks in sustainability in some areas might have not as higher marks in, say, ethical working conditions. And so what I try to do is be the resource that unpacks all of that for them, of saying what brands are doing well and what brands aren't doing well, and kind of, or not brands that aren't doing well, but like, this is what I know about the brand, and kind of how can we make the best decision possible considering the ethics, the economics, and the environment in every decision. So I always kind of have those 3 E's, and I say, like, given these 3 factors, how do we make the best decision possible?
Okay.
And knowing that, like, of course, sustainability, I mean, I think that this is kind of becoming a common thing where we say, not buying anything, of course, is the most sustainable thing. Or, re-wearing something from your closet, also a good sustainable option. And so kind of, telling people, because a lot of the people that are coming to me, they've maybe already decided they want to make a purchase, or they've already kind of made some mental decision, like, I'm wearing something new, or, I want something that's not in my closet. So they've already kind of made that decision. And then I'm providing resources to either maybe I can change their mind and they can rewear or rent something. But given that they probably do want something new, how to help them make the best decision possible that really aligns their values to their wardrobe choices. So someone might say, I need new basics. I know I don't need anything, but I'm going to buy new basics. And let's make the best decision possible. And that's
Yeah.
kind of where I come in.
Yeah. So just giving people options. And I think that's one of the things, at least in the sustainable fashion space, is like understanding that there are alternative solutions than buying fast fashion, and etc. So where would you rank Public Habit on your criteria of the 3 E's?
And so I would rank Public Habit very, very high. And we're not just saying that. I would rank them very high because, and I also always give brands extra bonus points when they have, like, on Public Habit's website is like a resource in itself of transparency and they kind of have that same honest communication tone of, this is why you choose wool and this is why you choose cashmere. And we understand that there is still, some natural resources that will go into making this product, but this is why it's a good decision. And they really, really have considered the ethics, economics, and environment in creating their line. And I think especially their whole like made to order thing was kind of new to me. I've of course heard of brands doing that, but I've never really worked with anyone who has done that. And I think that was a really it almost sounds too simplistic when you say it, but they only make what they sell. And I once I kind of wrapped my brain around that, I was just like, yeah, that completely makes sense. That's almost common sense of, you make something because someone purchased it and not for, all of these other reasons. And I think that really considered their supply chain gives them like very, very high marks for me, on top of just their, ethics. And they really break down, this is the family run factory. We know that they're paid fair wages. I actually know they just recently got their B Corp certification, which is, which is a big deal, and is a huge mark for them to be able to at least explain a certain level, a certain level to their customer.
Yeah, 100%. So they're basically they're made to order. They're reversing the normal supply chain of a brand, which I think that's going to be the future of fashion. There's not going
Yep.
to be any wasted inventory. Um, so so show us well, I didn't know if you wanted to pin a comment so people know in case they come in.
Let's see. We should pin something.
Yeah.
Let's do.
So I think that also Sydney, one of the co-founders of Public Habit, we talk about this a lot too, is if it's produced in China, how is that sustainable? And I know that consumers have that question, but actually, if you look at the production, like the majority of all production comes from China. So even if your tag says made in Italy, a lot of the production, it will first start in China, and then it will like they will add the tag, or they'll add
Yep.
the finalized pieces in Italy. And then because of regulations, they can still say made in Italy when a lot of it was produced. So they were also considering the carbon footprint of all the materials being traveling to make sure that it wasn't materials weren't traveling all over the world, um, and accumulating a footprint in that sense. So, and when you look at it, like 80, I think it's like 80% of all cashmere like is produced and starts in China. So that's like where they wanted to just like source it and be vertically integrated in that sense.
Yep. Yep. And that's definitely, I think, just their, even thinking through their, high marks, their commitment to their carbon footprint in that sense is really, I think, admirable for obviously for a clothing brand. I don't think a lot of clothing brands are necessarily coming at it with that lens. And I know that that's also why they have been partnering with Vor, who Sophia and I have been working with for our launches as well. And the carbon footprint just reminded me of that because I know their big like value proposition is in the reduction of carbon footprint and just physically getting less things made. And so we are working with Vor to create virtual showrooms for our lines, and mine you can look at now. But I think what's really cool about that is they're working directly with businesses to ideally cut out the process of a ton of sampling. And so by creating these virtual showrooms, they're just physically making less samples. You're having less runs of clothing, less you're just making less things because you're making these decisions virtually. So you're creating them online before you are making 100 of something. And even being able to maybe view colors or view textures, or the consumer and businesses are able to kind of make some decisions before things are created. So even just that, I think that speaks to the type of brands and change makers and people that they're looking to collaborate with.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so Cass, I want to see the rest of the collection. I want you to show it off. Her collection with Pogo Habit launched this past week, and now it's ready to be or made to order. So you ordered online, and it's ready within, what is it, 2 to 4 weeks? Do you remember the exact?
Yeah, I believe it says 21, if I remember correctly, it says 21 to 25 days once you hit buy. So yeah, so that's about exactly 3.5 weeks. So that's very, very exciting. And
Yeah.
I do only have the three. I just have one of each here with me. And so part of like the story, kind of like the storytelling behind my collection is I was really trying to bring in this kind of like, I think as a stylist and as a sustainable stylist, I'm always trying to be providing people with solutions of like things I feel like they actually need. versus like things that they maybe wear once, or not that I don't love extravagant pieces, but this is just kind of, especially with everything going on in the world right now, pieces that are really working with and for people, not things that might just sit in someone's closet. You know, if you're making a purchase right now, it's probably something more casual, because that's kind of all of our lives right now. And so I was bringing this kind of like cozy and versatile lens to everything. This dress, which is a midi dress, and you can kind of, it's like ribbed. I don't know if that like comes across in the camera, and it's funny, the bedspread's like the same color, but it kind of has this like ruched puckered sleeve, obviously a square neckline, midi dress. And so this is like super, super, super cozy. Everything is, because it's all wool and cashmere blends. And so this is like a totally dress up or down, like Zoom meeting, to the polls, of course, like, you know, anywhere, like dinner, if you're, you know, whatever you're doing, this is like a very, very versatile piece. I know people are always talking about like Zoom necklines and stuff too. I think the like square neck makes it very like elevated and kind of like fakes it into being like fancier than it might be because it's pretty
While
cozy.
being right, while being so comfy because it's like a cashmere and wool blend. Yeah, and
Yes, like
also
you just want to sleep in it.
when you're working with materials like cashmere and wool, you need pieces that last for a while because cashmere wool, like their for their life cycle assessment, it's a bigger footprint and it's a lot more energy used, water used just to produce the material, but it's a super sustainable material, but you want to make sure the cost per wear, like you can extend it as long as possible. So the more you wear it, which is the whole point of cashmere wool, is that it lasts forever. It's not going to be like a poly blend or like a cotton t-shirt. It's supposed to last you for ages. Um, so I can see how you like went for these designs.
Yes, and the other two are, so they're, this one's like a zip up, half zip sweater, and you can kind of see like the detailing on it.
Oh, I
Um,
love, yeah. I love that it
and
has like a collar that you could have up or down.
yeah, it's like a collar up or down, and it is gold hardware, which against like the cream and the pumpkin-y rust, like other colorway, I think is really, I was just gonna put it on, is really unique. And it just kind of makes it again like more, has kind of like a bigger gauge and is gold. So I just think it kind of feels very like luxy,
Yeah, I love the
luxy to me.
details. Wait, this is such
Um,
a good plane outfit. Did you wear this on the plane? The
I did wear, I was literally just thinking, oh, that's exactly what I did. I wore this on the plane. And these are really good. I know like travel isn't really everyone's life right now, of course, but when and if you are traveling, these are both like
good
super, super
layering
good
pieces.
layering. Yes. And I actually had named the collection after, they're all like my kind of three matriarchs. Like the dress is my mom, Cindy. This is like named after my grandma, Peggy. And this one's named after my grandma, other grandma, Leila. And so we kind of, or I was wanting to bring this kind of like intergenerational, you know, narrative to the piece as well. You know, everyone's kind of home, and I think people are spending, you know, some people are able to maybe spend more time with their families and kind of just reflect a bit more on, you know, family and kind of those values. So that's definitely like a piece that we wanted to add to this collection.
I love that. And
Um,
I could see like my own mom and grandma wearing these pieces, like the half zip and so I could definitely see the intergenerational styling coming
Yeah,
through.
yeah, and because I think public habits, you know, their main, of course, we want to bring, you know, different clients and people as well, but you know, I know their main kind of age range is more like 40s, 50s. So I definitely wanted to make pieces that were like appropriate for people that are already fans of public habit, since it was like their first collaboration, nothing too like off that their clients, you know, wouldn't already wear. So yeah, that was definitely like part of the narrative.
I love
Um,
that.
Yeah, and I also wanted to know if I wanted to like ask you a question if you felt like, you because this is the first time you were designing as well, a clothing
Yeah.
for clothing, right? And
Yes.
I know we're like already way far into it, but do you want to maybe give like a one or two sentences on your background just so people can kind of like understand how maybe our work is different but complementary, to kind of, weave it all in together for everyone?
Yeah, of course. So I think we're both in like the sustainability world, but coming from two very different angles, which I love. Like my background is in editorial and fashion editorial. So my background was I was the entertainment media editor at Vogue.com for 4 years and was, one of the first was one of the few people that like really worked on the social and digital voice, like creating that of Vogue, the Vogue's digital and social voice at the beginning when Vogue.com launched. And
Mm-hmm.
we worked with so many stylists, of course. And I just love that you are a sustainable stylist because I always remember we would have like one studio for just the shoot and then like two more studios for all the clothes, which seems like so excessive. Um,
Yeah.
but I think we're all coming to realization and coming into terms with our consumption levels as a society as well, even if you're in the fashion industry, and also just like navigating that balance. Like I obviously love fashion. I used to be a Vogue editor, so of course I love fashion, but I also most of my work focused on the environmental sustainability space. So it's like if I know that capitalism is the enemy, like what can we do to like balance it and like have both of it coexist? And it really is about solutions, like giving consumers the alternative solutions that are different from the norm, like made to order public habit pieces.
Yeah.
um so that's just a quick little background of how I ended up here, and now I'm a journalist and film director focusing on the environmental space outside of fashion as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just taught a class earlier today on deconstructing greenwashing myths with environmental nonprofit Slow Factory. So I was like consumerism and capitalism, like at the end of the day, what we were talking about is that we still live in a capitalistic and consumerist world until everything is reformed. Like we still live in that kind of world. If we don't buy, then we don't have economy, we don't have GDP, then we can't do a bunch of different things that our government needs to do to even implement climate policies. So it's all this like very cyclical thing that you can't always necessarily like pinpoint and be like, that's the bad guy.
Yep. And I think sometimes you have to have these more, kind of transparent and intersectional how to get to this level where we are able to, work towards changing policy and work towards changing things at more of a cellular level. And I think by building that community and also talking to people that, where you overlap a little bit, but it is more of an intersectional approach. How do we make sustainability more tangible and how do we, kind of elevate voices that are left out and elevate each other's voices by, saying, okay, we have these things in common. That's something I think that's even new for me as well. And something like have been working on, in the last couple of years is, in order to make yourself a better, to like support that global community and that to make it not sustainability, not just be like a moment or a movement, it's like the now. And
Yeah.
to your, greenwashing point is, I definitely think that our industry is at this point where the greenwashing is just gotten so bad and we do this professionally, so I am able to take time out of my day to dig in on brands and actually unpack what they're doing, but the average person does not have time to do
Mm,
that. And they have other jobs and families and lives, and they're not able to necessarily like put a microscope to everything they're purchasing. And I think getting kind of fostering and cultivating that community and bringing people like along, and especially people that have like-minded you know, we're like-minded but have different backgrounds, I think that's when you really like make the magic, you know, when you're bringing in
Yeah.
these new approaches to with the same end goal.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I want to know, Cassandra, last
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Um, how do you want people to feel when they're wearing your pieces?
I love that. That's such a good question. I want people to feel empowered and like the best version of themselves. You know, I
Mm,
think I really want people to feel like have a, I mean, this might sound a little too far for some people, but you know, I really do cultivate like a bond with clothing because of the time and energy that I put in to my purchases and providing solutions for people. And so I really, and that's something I try to foster with all of my clients is this like deep, meaningful connection to your clothing. And it's actually something I had someone, you know, interview me a couple weeks ago, and I really liked this question they had asked me of, you know, how do you handle that like dopamine kick, or how do you kick that habit of
of
always needing
buying,
something
yeah,
new or buying and this and it's on Prime and overnight delivery and I want new, you know, how do you kick that habit? And I know that's tough. It's something I work on every day, but I really think when you take a step back and create this deep and meaningful connection, you are more likely to make better choices. You're more likely to try to upcycle it, to fix it, to give it to a friend, to wear it again because it has this story that actually resonates with you, and that story wasn't just this like fast fashion high street purchase.
yeah,
And when you make these meaningful connections, I really like I do believe that you make more informed choices. And I, you know, I want people to feel like when they are wearing my pieces, like they did a good job and they're like proud to share this story, you know, share their story, share public habit story, and feel like they made the right decision in buying something. Like I only hit
yeah.
buy because I feel informed, and I also love like I want clients to feel this way, and I feel this way when I leave the public habit page. Like I learned something. I am a resource. A lot of times, I feel like things I ingest with fashion don't always make me feel like I left being like a better version of
Elevated
myself.
and yeah, like more like a
Yes.
more informed citizen. Yeah, of course.
Yes. Like
And
I
and
normally would leave work feeling like I need to watch the Animal Planet or I need to do something else because I need to just get out of my head. Um, and you know we're getting there. I think public habit and you know hopefully my collection inspires that in people of like um just feeling better, like they
I
made the
love
best
that.
decision that they could.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, when you're talking about the amount of energy you put into making your purchases, like there's energy in every single article of clothing. And I truly believe, I mean, there's energy in everything. Like I am energy, you're energy, like scientifically, that's a fact. But also, like if you're buying clothes that are made from love, like you know when people say they eat a really good meal, they're like, what's the secret ingredient in it? They're like, oh, it's love because your mom made it, your grandma made it. But when you're wearing a piece of clothing that people made with such love and attention and they're being treated ethically and fairly, that's a difference between wearing something that from a fast fashion brand where you know that there's exploiting labor or whatever that is. I think that energy carries with you when you're wearing the clothes. Like I truly believe that.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think you know being able to have have a clothing brand but still be able to foster such energy and such like meaningful you know you almost feel like you went to the factory and you know met the workers or met the you know maybe met the makers. And I always just that makes me feel amazing to be able like okay I purchased but this money went towards these materials, you know, getting these materials in the best way possible. This went directly to the maker, you know, their labor costs. Like, and Public Habit does a good job of telling you that. And
Yeah.
so you're okay paying a little bit more because you feel like there's this honest, transparent conversation. And I feel like even though something shipped across the world for me, I do feel like it's still a really good decision if you're wanting to buy something new.
Yeah, I love that.
And you'll wear them
Okay.
forever.
Yes, and you'll
Yay!
have them forever. Your cost per wear will be just like for longevity. Okay,
Exactly.
so Cassandra's your line with Public Habit, your collection is on publichabit.com. It's
Yes.
live now.
It's live now.
There are three pieces and two different colorways for the dress and the over the bomber jacket, right? The
And
half
for the
zip.
half zip, there's two colors. And right now, just one for the bomber jacket. And there might be
Okay.
more. But yeah.
Okay, amazing. So everyone go to publichabit.com and check it out. These pieces are so chic. I can't wait to wear them this fall and winter and seasons beyond. Congratulations.
Yay! Thank you so much. I'm really excited. And one of the best things right now is these first 2 weeks, we're actually donating to the End SARS movement, obviously in support of our global community in their fight for justice and human rights. So we're donating to Whitefield.org, and I've shared some of that information, but I'll share more too. So obviously, if it's something you're thinking of purchasing in the next 2 weeks, there's an additional layer of championing our, intersectional approach to fashion, because that was a huge pillar of our collaboration.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I, I love that. Amazing. Thanks so much,
Yes,
Cass.
thank you so much. This was fun.
So fun. And enjoy Nigeria and get some rest. I'm sure it's like about to, it's
Yes,
like,
yes. I am looking to get some rest, but I'm so excited for this. It's honestly like it's fine. I'm stoked about this. And we will be chatting again. We will be chatting again soon, so don't worry.
yes, yes. Bye,
Awesome. Thank you
Cass.
so much. Bye.